In our world, people live in one of three financial houses. You have the house of the poor, the house of the middle class, and the house of the rich. These are not just about the money in your bank account. They are about how you think about money. They are about what you do with the money you get. The poor have very little money. They struggle to pay for basic needs like food and a place to live. The middle class has enough money for their needs and some wants. They have jobs and usually a comfortable home. The rich have more than enough money. Their money works for them so they don't have to work for it. My poor dad was a smart man with a good job, but he was in the house of the poor and middle class. He believed in getting a good education and a safe, secure job. He worked hard for his money every single day. My rich dad never finished school, but he built businesses and bought assets. He understood that a job was not the way to become truly wealthy. He knew the goal was to own the things that make money. These different ideas about money put them in completely different financial houses, even though they lived in the same town. It is this thinking that truly separates the groups from one another. The poor and middle class often ask, "How much money do I need?" That is the wrong question. It keeps them trapped. They focus on earning a paycheck. They trade their time for dollars. If they stop working, the money stops coming in. They are stuck on a treadmill, running faster and faster just to stay in the same place. They buy liabilities like expensive cars and big houses that they think are assets. These things take money out of their pockets every month. They look rich, but they are one paycheck away from big trouble. This is the financial trap set for most people. The rich ask a different question. They ask, "How can I get my money to work for me?" This is the most important question. They don't work for money. They make money work for them. They do this by buying or creating assets. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. It could be a rental property, a business you own, or stocks that pay dividends. The rich spend their lives acquiring assets. Their assets generate income, which they then use to buy more assets. This creates a cycle of ever-increasing wealth. They are not dependent on a job. Their wealth grows even when they are sleeping. Let's look at how life is different for these three groups. The poor often live in neighborhoods where opportunities are scarce. Their housing might be small or in poor condition. They worry about paying rent each month. Their work is often physical and pays by the hour. They might work 2 or 3 jobs just to cover basic expenses like food, electricity, and transportation. When an emergency happens, like a car breaking down or a medical bill, it becomes a major crisis. There is no safety net. They live in a state of constant financial stress, always thinking about survival for today, not building for tomorrow. The middle class lives a more comfortable life, but it is built on a foundation of debt. They live in nicer neighborhoods with better schools for their children. They have steady jobs with titles like manager, teacher, or doctor. They can afford a nice house, a couple of cars, and annual vacations. But look closer. That house has a big mortgage. Those cars have monthly payments. The vacation was paid for with a credit card. They are working to pay for their liabilities. They think their house is an asset, but it takes money from them every month in taxes, insurance, and maintenance. They are caught in what I call the rat race. The rich live a life of freedom. This is the biggest difference. They may live in large, beautiful homes, but they often own the real estate company that manages hundreds of homes. They drive luxury cars, but these are often paid for by one of their businesses. Their work isn't about clocking in and out. Their work is about finding new opportunities and managing their assets. They spend their days looking at financial statements, negotiating deals, and learning about new investments. Their children learn about assets and liabilities at the dinner table. They are taught how to build wealth, not just how to work for it. Consider what each group does with an extra $10,000. A person from the poor group might use it to pay off urgent bills or fix their car to keep their job. Someone from the middle class might put a down payment on a new car or take a fancy vacation. They buy something that makes them feel rich for a moment, but makes them poorer in the long run. The rich person would use that $10,000 to buy an asset. They might invest it in a stock that pays dividends or use it as a down payment on a small rental property that will generate cash flow every single month. This is the core difference in their actions. The gap between the rich, the poor, and the middle class is not just in their bank accounts. It is in their minds. It is in their financial education. The school system teaches you to be a good employee. It teaches you to work for money. It does not teach you how to make money work for you. My poor dad always said, the love of money is the root of all evil. My rich dad said, the lack of money is the root of all evil. This single difference in mindset changed everything. One mindset leads to fear and scarcity. The other leads to opportunity and abundance. The poor and middle class are often driven by fear. Fear of not paying the bills, fear of losing their job, fear of not having enough. This fear makes them play it safe. They choose a steady paycheck over a risky business venture. They save their money in a bank account where it loses value because of inflation. They are afraid of making mistakes, so they never try anything new. Their financial vocabulary is limited to words like salary, savings, and mortgage. They don't understand words like cash flow, capital gains, or depreciation. This lack of knowledge keeps them trapped in their financial situation. The rich, on the other hand, are driven by learning and growth. They are not afraid to make mistakes. In fact, they know that mistakes are how you learn the biggest lessons. When an investment fails, they don't see it as a loss. They see it as an expensive lesson in what not to do next time. They are constantly reading, attending seminars, and talking to other successful people. They build a network of smart advisors. They understand that their greatest asset is not their money, but their financial intelligence. They study money the way a scientist studies science. It is a subject to be mastered. This is why some people can move from one group to another. A person born poor can become rich if they change their mindset and get a financial education. It starts with deciding to learn what the rich know. It means reading books, finding mentors, and starting small. You can start a small business on the side. You can buy your first stock. The key is to start acquiring assets, no matter how small. Conversely, a rich person who lacks financial education can easily become poor. We see this with lottery winners or athletes who get huge contracts but end up broke. They get a lot of money, but they have a poor person's mindset. Understanding the differences between the rich, poor, and middle class is not about blaming anyone. It is not about saying one group is better than another. It is about understanding the system of money. It is about financial literacy. If you do not understand how money works, you are destined to be its slave for your entire life. You will work hard, pay your taxes, and wonder why you can never get ahead. The rules of money are different for each group. The rich play by a different set of rules, and these rules are not taught in our schools. It is your responsibility to learn them. When we understand this gap, we can start to build a bridge. For yourself, you can start to change your own thinking. You can stop saying, I can't afford it. Instead, you should start asking, how can I afford it? That question opens your mind to possibilities. It forces you to think and to find solutions. You can begin to learn the difference between an asset and a liability. Once you truly understand this difference, you will only want to spend your money on assets. This is the single most important lesson for building wealth and achieving financial freedom. It is the first step out of the rat race. For our society, understanding this gap is critical. It helps us see why so many people are struggling. It is not because they are lazy. It is because they were never taught the rules of the game. They play a game where the odds are stacked against them. By promoting financial education, we can give more people the tools they need to succeed. We can teach our children about money, assets, and cash flow. We can empower them to build a future where they are not dependent on a paycheck from a boss. This knowledge can change the financial destiny of generations to come. In the end, your financial future is in your hands. It does not matter where you start. It does not matter how much money you make from your job. What matters is what you do with the money you have, and more importantly, what you do with your mind. You must choose to learn. You must choose to take control of your finances. Understanding the gap between the rich, the poor, and the middle class is the first step. The next step is to decide which group you want to be in, and then learn the rules that will get you there. Your life is your biggest business. Take charge of it.